Hey, and welcome everybody to the channel, and welcome to Johnathan, the Norse Carnivore, who has kindly agreed for me to pick his brains about a few things and to share with us his amazing story. And the reason I wanted to have you on, Johnathan, was because there are a lot of people that have a lot of physical benefits from health and lifestyle changes. Um, but I think it's really inspiring when people have huge mental benefits as well, because so many of us struggle and we don't talk about it and think it's we're alone and things like that. So I thought it would be really lovely to have you here and speak to you about that and all the other benefits, of course, that you've had over the last couple of years to changing your lifestyle really. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me on here to come tell my story and just chat with you. It's a pleasure to finally chat with you.
Thanks. So we've been following each other for, I don't know, a couple of months or something on Instagram, and I've kind of got a gist of your story myself. Obviously, that's why you're here. Um, but for anyone who doesn't know who you are and doesn't have a hint of what you've been doing from your name, can you can you kind of give, well, I guess start at the beginning. Tell me, what were your struggles first before what you did to change things?
Okay, yeah. I guess we're gonna have to go quite a bit back, or I mean, it's not that long in context, seeing that I'm only 24 years old, but still, yeah, pretty much like as long as I can remember, right? I did have a lot of mental struggles throughout my life, confidence issues, and also gut issues. I remember like all the way since I was like just a baby, still wearing diapers. My mom's told me like stories of how they either had to like help me like press my knees up or something like that to try and get something out the other end, or it was me spray painting the wall behind me completely brown. So it was already pretty rough from the start, right? Um, and also the mental stuff, right? I was always that kind of shy kid in class, I guess you could call it that, right? I struggled with my confidence. I like, yeah, struggled with anxiety, right? Talking to other people. I didn't believe in myself. I actually had a lot of anger in me as a child, but like looking back at it, I think it really just came from that anxiety, right? Because it mostly came out in the moments where in class the focus was directed towards me, right? So I think something just went like haywire inside of my mind. I didn't know what to do with myself. And yeah, as I kept growing older, I also started growing quite a bit in size, not just like in height, but I started also becoming like the fat kid in class, right? And of course, that didn't help with my confidence. It only made things worse. And yeah, it just kept on like I kept getting worse and worse. I mean, of course, you have in life, you have ups and downs. Everyone has that, but it never really got any better. And uh, yeah, especially towards for me, like the most hectic year, if you want to call it that, of my life was around like 2023 when I decided I wanted to try and lose some weight. And I had this idea in my head, like, unfortunately, a lot of people do that. If I get that six pack finally, all my issues are going to go away. So I fell into this whole calorie counting thing that I see a lot of people my age do, unfortunately, because it's definitely not good for you. And it's the focusing on the totally the wrong thing. Uh, But yeah, so I'll be honest about it because in the beginning, like short term or for some months, I actually did start feeling better. I did. And I was more happy with what I saw in the mirror. Like I got more fit and all that. And but I still had that lingering anxiety and depression. The gut issues definitely weren't good. And this like my diet at the time, right? When I did this whole thing, it was pretty much because I had already gone away from junk food, or because it didn't fit into the calories, because those things are always like high calorie foods. Um, and yeah, I stayed away from all that protein shake stuff and like the pre-workout things that people do, because I just thought, like, to me it just, yeah, that fake stuff, I felt like, no, I need to stay away from that's definitely not good for you. um but yeah, it was, in practice, it was basically the standard so-called balanced diet, right? It was a plant-based diet because then you can eat a lot of volume, fill yourself up, uh, and then yeah, your idea of feeling full is just being bloated and feeling pain and awful all the time. And low fat, of course, can't get too much fat. Of course, you need some because you need it for certain things, but you can't get too much. Um, so yeah, that was basically it. I stayed away from ultra processed stuff. I wasn't really drinking because, again, not good for for the calories. And also, I my mental state was so bad that I really just couldn't make myself go to social situations. Right, I canceled plans and all that. And also, my family had already started cutting out seed oils. Um, because my brother is also very like into the health stuff, and he'd got into that and explained it, like educated the family on it. So we already went to real butter. But yeah, back on track with the state of me. So like some months into this, like it started going downhill, right? From I got this little a spike, right, where I felt better, I was more confident, but then I actually started going into a state that was worse than I was previously, like before this. Um, I started getting like really, really bad anxiety to the point where I isolated myself completely, pretty much. I cut out a lot of people. I just canceled plans all the time. I walked around. Um, what was I saying? Yeah, I was pretty much just stuck in my own room the entire day. I almost couldn't get myself to go out the door. Um, and yeah, also the depression got really, really bad. I walked around every single day just trying to survive through the day, right? And feeling aimless, hopeless every single moment, every single second of my existence. I actually, like, at the worst point, it was so bad that I went to sleep every single night and I hoped I wouldn't wake up the other day. And, yeah, I was thinking of ways I would get out of life. That's where I was. But yeah, and my gut issues as well. It was like it only got worse and worse and worse. Like I spent hours every single day on the toilet, right? I bonded more with the toilet than real people. But yeah, and so it also, like, my mental state, right? To try and paint the picture of how severe this was, like the depression or whatever. I don't know. I never went to the doctor to get anything diagnosed because I almost didn't want help, right? Because I felt so broken down that I I was self-destructive, right? I almost wanted to make things worse for myself. I don't know how to describe it really, other than that. That's how I felt. Um, and I just hated myself. I hated the world. I hated people. I resented other people when I saw other people being happy, right? I just thought they were fake, that they were faking it because they wanted to be popular or whatever, that they wanted friends. And, but yeah, the mental stuff, it was, there's probably some diagnosis for it. Not that it maybe doesn't matter too much, but like I was at a point where I actually, first of all, I started having hallucinations during the day, and then I woke up like experiencing really scary stuff. I also had like sleep paralysis, where you like wake up and you feel glued to your bed. You physically can't move, but you're wide awake. And I also like saw these dark figures standing over me that I felt were coming after me. And I actually, like, during the days and stuff, I started like in my mind, I was creating this sort of alternate reality, I guess, like a different world for myself that I lived in instead of real life, because real life was too much for me to handle. So I started creating this world that I lived in inside of my head, that was something I wanted instead. And it wasn't a good place at all. Um, but that being said, obviously, since I'm sitting here talking to you right now, there is a bright side to all of this. And it's thankfully all gone. And it's been gone for almost 2 years now. And the turning point for me was late summer that year, 2023. I got like the worst, absolute worst IBS attack I had experienced in my entire life. I'd never felt anything like it. It was so painful. I can't even describe it. One way I've described it to someone like a long time ago is it's just something I made up when I was talking to them, but I remembered it now. Is if you can imagine like a Wolverine scratching you up from the inside, while there's also like a bouncy castle blowing up at the same time. That's what I felt like. Okay. um, yeah, I was so bloated, inflamed. It was insanely painful. I actually don't think I slept for 2 days or something because of this. I just laid down and like tried to turn around, twist my body to try and find an angle I could sit at to kind of relieve the pain a little bit. And I tried to like make myself puke and stuff, and it to see if maybe that helps. Didn't really help, or I couldn't actually get anything out. And by any method, really. So, but yeah, this moment, like my moment of desperation, unfortunately, a lot of us, right, end up not making changes in our lives before we hit this absolute rock bottom moment. I'm thankful that I at least did it so early in my life, right? So I didn't have to go too long with it. But yeah, so this was my turning, or my moment of desperation, rock bottom, if you want to, whatever you want to call it, where I just realized to myself, you know what, I can't keep living the way I am right now, and I need to make drastic changes. Because I've always, even though I had all those mental issues and struggles in my life, I always had like in the back of my head this feeling that, you know what, I want to live. I want to know what it's like to feel that way. That I'm feeling good. I'm loving life, but I just don't know what it's like, and I can't. Even though there's no like people who haven't been through depression. I understand you get like there's no way for you to really know what I'm talking about, but it's not, you can't just say to someone who's in that, oh, just get it together, or like try to think about nicer things or whatever. That it doesn't work. Like I tried every, like I could try anything I wanted, want to feel that way as much like as I want, but yeah, that wouldn't, it didn't make a difference, right? It's, you feel absolutely hopeless and like there's nothing you can do. It's out of your control, right? Um, and almost like you were just unlucky that you were just destined to have this life. You can't do anything about it. But yeah, so my mind just instantly went to, because it was the gut issues I was focused on, right? I want to relieve from that. Um, I just intuitively thought to myself that, of course, it has to be something I'm eating. And my mind was just, oh, maybe it's something I'm allergic to. There's something I'm not aware of that I'm allergic to. And I started thinking, like, is there something I haven't eaten in a while that I had that day or something like that? And what I traced it back to was an apple. I hadn't had eaten apple in a long time. And what I did was, a couple of days later, I tried a piece and those things came right back, like the flare up. So from this point on, I started connecting the dots to myself, right? And just being really in tune with my body and trying to listen to the signals I'm getting when I'm putting food into my mouth and seeing how my body responds, just like intuitively, I guess. Just there's almost this like, I like indescribable switch that just went off or on, I mean, in my mind, where it's just like, I don't know, like some instincts just went really sharp, where yeah, I was just hyper focused on getting this fixed and just like trying to really, really narrow down what is doing this to me and trying to stay in tune with my body, listen to my body. And for about 2 months or something like that, I mean, this entire period of my life is a big blur to me. I like actually don't remember that much from it. So many of these things I just have to like try to think back and make come to like the most, or the, yeah, like however I can describe it with what do remember, right? um I have to put like the little details here and there that I have together. um but yeah, so I went through a period of about 2 months or something like that, where I just experimented on my own, and I tried eliminating foods from my diet. I tried putting them back in, seeing how I respond to them. And what I was noticing was, it seemed like every single time I cut out plants, so like grains, I actually didn't eat that many grains at the time. And now that I think of it, but like fruits, vegetables, um, that sort of stuff, uh, I seem to get better. I seem to have less flare ups. I felt clearer in my mind. But it was mostly like the gut issues I noticed at the moment at that time. And then by the end of like my experimentation, I was actually just sitting there one day with some ground beef, eggs, like having a meal, some butter, and an avocado. Uh, and keep in mind, at this point, I'm actually just doing this completely on my own. I've never, I mean, obviously from my the name I go by, Norse Carnivore, as you said, people can tell that I'm on the carnivore diet. I only eat meat, eggs, butter, and fish. Um, but at this point, I have never even heard of this thing. I have never heard. I didn't know it existed, because I pretty much stayed off social media all the time, because that was something that made my anxiety even worse and my anger even worse. Everything. I just couldn't handle it. But when I sat down to have this meal, when I went for a bite of that avocado, I don't know why, but like when I just put that into my mouth, I had this visceral reaction where I just went like, it, it tasted disgusting to me for some reason. Like it tasted like poison to me. And, at this point, since I was so desperate for relief from my issues, I just had already decided to myself that whatever signal I'm feeling from my body, I'm just going to follow it. I'm going to listen to it. And I don't know. I just, yeah, I had a gut feeling that, you know what, I'm going to throw that thing out, spit out the bite I have in my mouth of it, and I'm going to eat this meal I have. And what happened from there on, pretty much, I can tell you the story of how I actually came to find out other people are doing this whole thing, because that comes pretty quickly for me, very quickly. So about 3 days in, I suddenly wake up from a great night of sleep I hadn't like experienced my entire life pretty much. And I just felt like I had unlimited energy. I felt so good. Like this plastic wrap from my around my head was just, it just flew away by itself. I like all my mental struggles, they just seemed to be gone. I suddenly didn't feel those bad thoughts were completely gone. Like I was feeling happy, energized. My mind was clear, everything. And I just like got straight up from bed instantly, like no like snooze button or anything. I used to do that quite a lot. Um, and I just went out. I just had to do something. I went out the door and just walked for hours. I think hours on end. I had to do something. Just get out in the sun and do something. And that day, what happened was I decided I wanted to call my parents because I had been so isolated for many months that I didn't even talk to them really. I like ignored their messages, ignored their calls because I just couldn't. I couldn't make myself answer it. Um, and I just felt like calling them. And I don't know, like usually or before this, I would have been like so scared or so unconfident in like telling them something, something like this, because it's sounds insane and it's so strange, so different. Uh, it would have felt very uncomfortable to me. But I just, when I called my mom, I just started telling her right away. Like I've been experimenting with my diet, right? And this is what I've been eating now. And I seriously, I don't understand, mom, what's happening to me. Like I suddenly feel so amazing out of nowhere. It seems like all my issues, my gut is at rest. I feel energized and happy. Like, what is going on? I don't understand. And she, because she goes to Pilates and started telling me that actually she knows people in that community. There's a quite a lot of people there apparently doing this sort of diet, like low carb, keto, and even carnivore. So she already knew about this sort of way of eating, and people did it for their health and well being. And also, she had seen people online. I don't know what platform, but probably one of the ones where you scroll like this all day. uh, Talking about it, that they like the improvements and health benefits they've seen from it. So she already knew about it. And from there on, of course, because I'm the kind of person where, I mean, of course, I don't, because of my way of coming into this, I kind of have an angle where I almost don't need the justification, right? Because I know what happened. And I have people trying to tell me it was placebo, but that doesn't really work if you've heard how I came into it. Um, but yeah, I'm always the kind of person who likes to question things, right? I want to know, why does this work? Can I? Of course, I had the questions everyone does when they hear this, like, can I even keep doing this? Is this sustainable? Uh, am I not missing this and this vitamin or mineral? Am I gonna get scurvy? That's a classic one, right? And you think you need all the fiber, but I mean, of course, I was mostly at the time focused on just I finally had relief. But I always want to know. I had the questions, I needed answers, and I've always been that kind of person who asks those questions and wants to learn, not just something. This is some wise, or this is how it is, right? In school, for example, I was always the person where if a teacher was asking or telling us about something, I was always the one who kind of got, or they who kind of annoyed them because I asked the question, yeah, but why is it like that? Or not just, oh, it's like this because they say so, or because the rule or theory says it is. Why? Like, I want to know, why is it like that? What does this mean for me in my real life? Otherwise, the information is kind of useless to me, really. And I guess my brain just kind of works that way. But yeah, so from that point on, now for almost 2 years, I've been eating this way, just meat, eggs, and butter and fish. And yeah, I'm feeling the best I ever have. I can almost say I keep feeling better all the time, and keep noticing things that are improving. Of course, healing takes time, right? You can't expect when you've been wrecking your body for years on end for everything to just get fixed overnight. And even though I saw those huge mental benefits, there are things that take time to heal there as well. That you have to. I almost have had to like find myself again, right? Because I almost right. I didn't know myself almost when I suddenly just felt like this, and I have a whole new life and world. I yeah.
Wow.
So
It's an amazing story. And thank you for your honesty as well. It's very touching. And I know there are so many other people that feel, a similar way and feel there's no way out of how they feel. So thank you for all of that. That's just fantastic. And I'm amazed that after just 3 days of cutting the last bit and what you consider a healthy bit, an avocado, out, the difference in you, mentally, physically, emotionally. Yeah, that's crazy that it was so quick.
yeah, absolutely. Of course, like through the whole period where I was eliminating things, I was feeling a little bit better.
Mm.
Uh, but mostly like just got the gut relief, but it wasn't quite there yet. And I still felt some discomfort and I guess brain fog, mental issues after the meal, and it wasn't quite lifted. And But I think actually that slow transition helped me get to it even quicker when once I went fully in, right? I think that's always a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. I think people that go cold turkey with anything is probably going to be a bit challenging for many reasons, particularly with this way of eating, because you're kind of having to retrain the body. It's so used to fueling itself in a very suboptimal way that it's not used to, the proper fuel anymore. So yeah, that's I just think the whole thing is amazing. Uh, I wish I'd known about it years ago as well. I suffer from quite a lot of, well, a good proportion of my life from anxiety and depression myself. But I was vegetarian from the age of 9, and also then onto vegan and various other weird and wonderful dietary choices for my health. So yeah, I think it really gives inspiration for a lot of people. The one thing I know that a lot of people will think though also is, oh my God, but then you can't eat anything. There's no fun, there's no treats, there's no anything like that. But I'm guessing from your story and your face as you were telling it that the positives of how you feel way outweigh those, oh my, I'm going to miss out on all these things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people, I can understand it sounds boring at first, right? Just eating this colorless, plain beef on your plate. I totally understand that. But exactly like you said, that's how it is for me. Like, what's more boring? Is it eating a limited amount of food items or living with severe depression, anxiety, like IBS, very bad skin issues, um, and so much more. Like the list is endless. Would be here forever if I were to list it all. But yeah, what's more boring? You've got to choose your hard, I guess, as a way you can say it. And for me, actually, no, I'll take that back a little bit because for me, it isn't even hard. It isn't hard. It's not hard to be thriving and living my best life. Uh, and that's just all I want now, really. And I know that starts with what I'm putting into my body, right? If you're giving it the wrong inputs, you're going to get the wrong outputs. And yeah, now there's this whole mental shift around food that I've experienced myself, and I see a lot of other people eating this way, or talking about that. You just stop seeing food in this like that way that you used to. It's no longer for entertainment purposes or like for comfort or something like that. I'm not saying I don't enjoy my meals because I do. I actually look forward to them. Um, and I love eating them. But the way I see food now is just it's for nourishment, right? It's to give my body what it needs to thrive and heal itself, and that's it. I eat when I'm hungry, and then I stop when I'm full, and then I go on with my day. And yeah, because now it's yeah. I used to be the kind of person which a lot of people could probably relate to, where while I was eating my meal, I was just thinking about what I'm gonna have the next meal. And also, like at some point, I was going after school and stuff when I was uh, in my teens, and I could go to the store on my way home and get like a full bar of chocolate and a full bag of chips, and I would eat the whole thing. And then when I got into that whole calorie counting thing, right, at the worst part of that, it actually kind of developed into an addiction in itself, where like the losing weight, because it's like all focused on the losing weight and tracking the numbers and all that stuff. um it kind of became an addiction in the way where, oh, but you can get even leaner, or you can, yeah, you, how far can you take it or whatever. And also I think at some point, um like, not that I'm going to go around like throwing a diagnose at myself or something like that, but like just reading at it, I'm pretty sure you could call what I was suffering from at the moment anorexia, really. Because I was doing it at the moment because I was fearful of gaining weight, and I yeah, just had really bad body image issues. So I would say that's probably what it would be called if I went to get it diagnosed. Um, and I was really, really malnourished, frail, looking like an absolute just ghost, really a skeleton. So I'm actually one of the people who, you don't hear about that too much. You always hear about the weight loss on carnivore. I'm one of the people who gained weight. actually, quite a bit when I started, but that shows the kind of healing that this does from every angle you come from, because my body gained weight or muscle probably, or I did gain fat as well, but that's because I needed it. I really, really, really needed it. And yeah.
Yeah. So another thing I know from my experience talking to other people is that people think that this way of eating sounds complicated. And I'm not fully carnivore. I am what people would class as animal based. Um, but I already see how much simpler it is cooking, shopping, storing, thinking about food, cleaning up after food. So I'm assuming it's even easier with, full carnivore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see what's so complicated about it. It takes me a couple of minutes to make my meal, and then it's yeah, then I just eat it, then I'm go on with my day. I mean, it both makes you more productive and time efficient, because your brain and body works better. You have energy all the time. You don't get the spikes and crashes and stuff, but also because it's actually just way easier, way more efficient. It's not complicated at all to me. Um, I think just once you get into the routine of it, it just goes by itself. I don't think about these things anymore. It's just this is just the way I live now, and I don't really like out of principle. I would be the kind of person who wouldn't like to say I'm gonna eat this way forever, or I'm never gonna go back. But like just from the way like the healing and I've gotten from this and the way I feel, like why would I ever want to go back? I can't see myself ever doing that. I've fought so long to actually, or I mean, other people do it longer, but to me, right, I've fought so long and hard to get to the place I am now. Why would I ever want to go back? And no, yeah, when it comes to the complicated thing, it's the simplest thing I've ever done. It's also I'm spending a lot less money on eating this way. I think a lot of people, when they hear about this, they just think, oh, the price of a steak or something like that, it's really high. But yeah, sure. Or I mean, you can just eat. I just eat ground meat most of the time, really. Here in Norway, where I live, they usually cut off all the fat and stuff on every single cut, pretty much, of meat. So that's the only way I can get fatty enough meat for my needs. And also, I mean, it's cheaper again. And yeah, also what people have to remember, a lot of people don't think of the fact that there are so many things you're suddenly not buying, right? All those sodas, the energy drink, whatever, like stuff that goes bad in the fridge after a couple of days and you just throw it away. Uh, a bunch of just useless add-ons that you no longer buy, all the snacks, the junk food, and all that. There's so many things you strip away, and then also you don't really have to pay the doctor, right? And because you're healthy enough, I don't go to the doctor at least.
All the
I
supplements.
actually, or the supplements, powders, the stuff that people use and need, whatever. You don't need that stuff. And talking about the doctor, actually, we can go into that. It's a pretty funny story. So, in like the pretty early on in my carnivore journey, so I think about half a year into it. So my family, because I was living in the UK actually, um, when I first started on my own, but then I moved back home um, around Christmas time or something like that. And yeah, my family was a bit concerned, even though they've been supportive the entire way through. Because I mean, they couldn't deny the changes they saw in me. Like that day, I called my parents, my mom and dad. They just told me, you know what, I can hear it in your voice. What, like, there's something to this. But then they have the concerns of, oh, are you getting everything you need, like all the vitamins, minerals? Is this going to be dangerous for you, like the heart disease and cancer, all those things that you hear about? And they wanted me really bad to go to the doctor to get a blood test and all that stuff just to see if everything is in check. So after about half a year, they had annoyed me enough to the point where I just wanted them to stop. So I went to the doctor and got my blood drawn. I sat down with my doctor and with like the family doctor. I'd never met her before, actually. Uh, and I started telling her about my experience. I didn't say carnivore diet, but I told her, yeah, so I started eating this way, and this is how I used to feel, all the issues I used to have, and they seem to have just disappeared completely. Uh, like depression gone, anxiety gone. I also had some joint pain, sleep issues, right? Heart palpitations is another thing I had. Yeah, everything. And like she actually, or I like to ask people the question if they were, do you think the doctor was curious about this whole thing? No, right? Uh, she actually wasn't curious enough to want to look into it herself or hear more about it from me or anything. She went straight into like how I would be deficient in things and how it would be dangerous for me long term. I'm gonna have to reintroduce other things and all that stuff. But yeah, and then we left. I tried telling her that, you know what, I don't feel like I need to reintroduce things. This isn't boring to me. I'm just happy that I don't have to suffer from those things unnecessarily anymore. Like, why would I want to eat that stuff? Do you not understand? But yeah, then I come back the next appointment and yeah, show her my blood work and stuff because it's come back. And she tells me, you know what, Johnathan, uh, this blood panel is the best I've ever seen in my entire career.
Wow.
Yeah. But still, didn't want to hear about it. Just when actually this appointment, she started trying to push medications on me and starting to like wanted to make a plan of how, of course, because she wants me to become a client that comes back. So we had to, of course, we were going to work on a plan on how I was going to reintroduce things and go on like a FODMAP diet or whatever. And yeah, pushing meds, as I said. But I just said to her straight up, I said, I didn't come here to you to get any sort of prescription. I'm sitting here telling you my depression went away, my anxiety went away, my IBS went away, and so many other things. And this is your response. You're just giving like a robotic response, probably the exact same as you give everyone else who comes in with these issues. Like, why don't you ask me about it or want to hear more about it? And I'm not here to get a prescription from you. I don't want it. I came here to make my family stop bugging me about this uh, deficiency stuff. And yeah, she didn't want to hear it really. And lastly, I just asked her a simple question to make her think a little bit. I think it's a fair question. I asked her, do you think the advice or the medications you prescribe people, do you think you've ever cured a client from anything, reversed their issues with this. And her reaction to this was throwing me out of her office. And I've never heard from her again. Yeah.
Sounds like you made a friend that day.
Definitely. Myself.
Hmm. Wow. That's also an amazing add-on to your story as well. It's so inspiring that just through eating in a more primal, ancestral, natural way, that so many things that we're being prescribed tons of medications for and told that there's nothing you can do to change it, or you'll manage it, or maybe it'll go away one day, but if you're lucky, that just going back to our natural state of being has healed you of all those things.
Yeah. And, if you told me that 2 years ago, before I started this whole healing journey, I would have thought you were crazy. I wouldn't think just changing my diet a little bit would make all that go away. And that's like the unfortunate thing. People have been kind of, ingrained, this idea has been ingrained into people's mind for so long that these issues, that you're just going to have to live with them and take medications for them and manage the symptoms for the rest of your life. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's out of your control. But why I think that's why a lot of us come on here, and when we find this sort of healing, that we eventually decide for ourselves, you know what, I have to speak up. I have to just tell the world what I've experienced and the healing I've found. Because, hello, everyone, I'm shouting from the rooftops, right? Seriously, you're suffering from this unnecessary, like, horrible thing. And I have an answer right here. Obviously, since it worked for me, it might as well work for you. That's just logical, isn't it? And I think we can explain it like more scientifically as well, but we don't have to get too deep into that. That's a rabbit hole in itself. I think the stories are the most important part of all of this, because that's how we connect with people and pass off information the best way. And I think that's like another, like, talking about going back to ancestral things. I think that's one of the things our society has lost from, like, really lost during the last 100 years, I guess, the way of passing on information and stories through just telling them to each other, like face to face or in groups and all that. And yeah, I just think it's amazing that there's so many people, more and more people, finding this, and they're finding it because people are going out there telling their story of healing and everything they've experienced. That, hello, I just cut out those plants, the vegetables, and suddenly my depression is gone. My people, like arthritis, psoriasis. I've recently seen that. You've probably seen that, like a clinical observation thing with schizophrenia.
Mhm.
Someone who full remission, and I think I've seen Parkinson's, uh, like Alzheimer's, so many. Also, I know someone personally who, through like a meat-based type of eating, they reversed their thyroid cancer. It's incredible the amount of things that people are reversing out there.
I know that a lot of people struggle with this concept, as I did, of eating a lot of animals, um, because we've been told for such a long time by big pharma, governments, big sugar, everybody, that animals are bad for us and they cause all sorts of heart problems and stuff like that. But not only that, that they're also bad for the environment and they're destroying the environment, and cow farts are killing us, and this, that, and the other. we'd be here for the next 4 hours if we discussed all of that.
Yeah, definitely.
So I am going to link. I did a video with Leah Keith. I don't know if you know she is. She wrote The Vegetarian Myth. She was 20 years vegan, and um, she's an environmentalist as well. So I'm going to link her video below because she explains, the science, the everything about why all of that is nonsense. But what are your thoughts on it when someone says, it's basically it destroys our health and it destroys the planet?
Okay, so I would say first of all, like the simple answer is I think it's just a narrative that's like at the end of the day, it's more of an anti-human narrative than anything else, I think. Because I mean, you can just follow the simplest way is follow the money, right? On this stuff, because all of these same things, when you hear like it's bad for the planet or meat is bad for you, meat it's going to cause heart disease and all that stuff, and then also the advice they give on what you're going to eat instead. Uh, when you look at it, all these things they always benefit the same people, right? That's the first part of it. But also when you look at the actual facts behind the matter, when it comes to like the planet and stuff, I think maybe look at the monocropping instead, all the glyphosate they're spraying on there, like they're destroying habitats, uh, they're actually, yeah, they're ruining nature, destroying its natural cycles and stuff. And when it comes to the cows and ruminant animals themselves, if you just know like the rudimentary stuff about carbon cycle and all that, they're not adding anything. They actually make no difference except for helping the environment thrive. And they're actually boosting the ecosystem around them, making the soil better, yeah, setting everything up for animals, plants, everything to thrive, really. I just think it's a bunch of nonsense, really. And yeah, the heart disease stuff, yeah, I would encourage people to just be open to hearing the other perspective on this. Because if you go deep into all of it, you start to realize, oh, wait, this is really, really fraudulent.
Yeah.
It really is. And there is no good evidence for any of this. And when it comes to cholesterol, we know how important it is for the human body. You need it for your brain, you need it for all your cells, actually. And you need it to make your hormones. And you make about 80% of what you need, meaning you do need to eat some of it.
Sharing everything you've shared. I know it's going to be really inspiring for so many people. And if people have got questions, they want to reach out, they're not sure how to go about this and stuff, I know that you now have an ebook. So
Yes.
I am going to link all your pages and various things below this video. And I'm assuming there will be some sort of link there so that people can kind of download your ebook, which I think is free, isn't it?
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, by the way. Yes, it's completely free. And I have a link on my page, and people can just message me as well. I'll get back to them and they'll get it. It's my whole goal with that was to make something that is has everything people need to just get started on the right foot by themselves. I don't want it to be like some sort of gatekeeping thing where like, oh, if you want the information, you're going to have to pay me for coaching or something. I want to actually give them, this is all you need to get started on your own. Here it is for free. And it kind of, I tried to outline it in a way where I first explain like the problems with modern health, how we actually ended up here, like believing all these things, and then into what is the carnivore diet, what is it not, and then lastly just having a part, like a last part about how you can, like giving you some tips on how to apply all of it to your own life, because I think that's important as well. People struggle with, what do I do if I travel, right? What do I do when I'm with my family, social situations, and all that stuff. So that's that. And also, I tried to make it a little fun and engaging. I didn't want it to just be another boring read through all the theory. And uh, of course, you're going to have a little bit of that, but I tried to make it a little bit more engaging for people. So it's not just some boring fact like book.
Great. I'm sure some people will come along and give it a read then. So, like I said, I'm going to put all those links underneath this video for anyone that they can find you and ask you questions and get your ebook and see what you're doing and what you're up to. And I thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your day and coming and telling us your story and your honesty about it all as well. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much again for inviting me on. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. And yeah, if someone has questions, whatever it is, I'm open to answering anything, and just send me a message. Don't be afraid to do that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you again. And thanks for everyone for watching too. And ciao for now.